Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Yes, this is the week where I'm talking about a Post-it note of 5 deliberate actions that I have put on my desk so far back I can't remember. But they're 5 actions that I really think if I don't focus on them deliberately, sometimes they'll slip from my day-to-day life. And so I've got them there to remind me on a regular basis to deliberately intentionally live, pursuing, if you will, these features of life. And if you haven't been listening to the series this week, Monday, you can grab these on YouTube. But Monday, I talked about the importance of loving and to love. And then Tuesday, to work. Today is Wednesday. And today I talk about the third, which is an interesting word for many people. It's enjoy. And God wants us to enjoy our life. Now, this does not mean enjoy in the way the world does. Ecclesiastes, an Old Testament book, talks about the vanity, the emptiness in just worldly enjoyment. This is a different kind of enjoy. This is an enjoyment that comes from how we live before God, but it also comes from a heart that recognizes how God has been toward us. And we don't get this enjoyment through simply some emotional high. This is an enjoyment of life that is genuine and deep. Let me give you an example. Paul writes to Timothy late in Paul's life. Timothy's a young, the next generation, if you will, and Paul's giving some very substantive counsel, knowing that this is something that will outlast Paul in Timothy's life. And so in this, Paul has told Timothy to pursue righteousness, to pursue godliness, to pursue faith and love and steadfastness and gentleness. And he says, fight the good fight of faith. And then Paul explodes in chapter 6 after giving those instructions into this glorious praise to God. He talks about him as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, who alone has immortality, who dwells in unapproachable light, whom no one has seen or can see. And he calls out honor and eternal dominion. And then Paul says this. He says, look, if you live in that strata of wealth, which frankly, almost everyone listening to this message does, because if you're listening to this, you've got a computer, you've got or a phone or access to the internet. You've got some measure of wealth compared to people who live in this world struggling to find something to eat, something to wear. You don't think rich by American standards. Think rich as a strata of people by the world's standards. And Paul says, don't ever be haughty. Don't be arrogant in what you have. Don't set your hopes on what you have, but set your hopes on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. See, we have been given things by God to enjoy them, but the key is what Paul says next. How do we enjoy things? By doing good, by being rich in good works, by being generous and ready to share. If we recognize that God's put us here today to be rich in good works, to be generous to others, generous with our time, generous with our resources, generous with our emotions and caring, if we recognize that God's given us those things and that ready to share what we have, then all of a sudden we will find an ability to enjoy life in ways that would never occur to many people. So I want you today, I charge you today, I commend to you today to enjoy life by being thankful before God, by being rich in good works, by being generous with others, and by sharing who you are. But do it enjoying the fact that God has given you that chance. And that will be praise to him, and that will be transformative to you and me. It's your video thought for the day. More tomorrow.